Mr. Sharael Taha.
Mr. Speaker, sir, over the last 60 years, much progress has been made in women's development in Singapore in many areas, such as education, healthcare, the enactment of the Women's Charter, protection from violence, and more equal working opportunities. The White Paper on Singapore women's development is an important step to continue the progress and collectively drive the whole-of-nation commitment to advance Singapore women's development. And I believe that there is more that we can do to increase its effectiveness. Firstly, collectively as a society, we can do more to create a safer, fairer, more inclusive and progressive workplace through the introduction of workplace fairness and expediting the legislation for flexible work arrangements, while providing assistance to caregiver and back-to-work mothers with re-employment opportunities. Secondly, while we work towards changing the entrenched stereotype that women are primary caregivers and hence often shoulder a heavier caregiving load to the family, we must provide better and easier support to our caregivers. Thirdly, to further increase the caregiving load, how can we continue to provide more affordable childcare? The pandemic has been a catalyst for organizations to adopt flexible work arrangements. FWA has helped both men and women better manage their workplace and personal responsibilities. Due to the restricted access to the workplace during the pandemic, it became a burning platform for workplace norms on FWA to evolve. Now that the burning platform has less urgency, I worry that organizations will not devote enough time and attention to FWAs and revert to the old ways of working, something which colleague Mr. Melvin Yong mentioned in his speech earlier too. Hence, while I understand that the introduction of the tripartite guidelines on FWAs will take place only in 2024, we should consider scheduling important milestones that will eventually lead up to it. This will go towards ensuring that we keep up the momentum towards making FWA a norm. Since many primary caregivers tend to be women due to our entrenched societal expectation, to increase the effectiveness of the FWA in furthering Singapore women's development, we must also do more to promote job restructuring through flexi-load or job sharing. This can enable those with caregiving responsibilities to continue playing a part in the workforce. Take, for example, Madam Farhana from Pasir Ris. She takes care of her elderly mother who undergoes dialysis 3 times a week. If more organizations adopt job sharing, flexible work hours, and remote working, caregivers like her may have more opportunities to contribute to the workforce. Women play many important roles in our society. They contribute to the economy and shoulder a heavier burden of caregiving. Hence, while we enable flexible work arrangements to help both men and women better manage their workplace and personal responsibilities, the FWA must also address the do's and don'ts on how to protect the privacy and family time at home. As we practice more flexible work hours, workers will be working at different hours to manage their workplace and personal responsibilities. We have heard of anecdotal stories of workers feeling pressured whenever they receive or have to answer emails late at night. While we do not want to go to the extreme end, like in France, where it is illegal to email an employee after office hours, we must recognize that flexible work arrangements means different groups of people will be working at different times. However, as FWA blurs the line between work and home, how can we get employers and workers to come to a new understanding about work-life balance and respect for personal space and time? We should also encourage employers and organizations to facilitate the re-entry of women into the workforce, whether through developing mentorship or internship programs or by providing networking or retraining opportunities. The effort to enable more women to re-enter the workforce should be recognized and highlighted as an important consideration for fair and inclusive employment practice. In a study conducted by PPIS on the aspirations of a Muslim woman in Singapore, one of the top aspirations of the Muslim woman is to be financially independent. However, many respondents shared that they felt less employable as they perceived that social inequality in employment opportunities still exist. They also felt that there was less exposure to different job opportunities, and interestingly, they felt that there were insufficient avenues to upskill for better paying jobs. How can we, as a society, come together to support and create platforms for our back-to-work mothers seeking upskilling and re-employment opportunities? PPIS President, Ms. Hazlina Abdul Halim, also suggested that such programs should be attended by spouses to provide the closest support for our back-to-work mothers, something which I do agree that us males must do more. While we continue towards changing the mindset that women should be the primary caregivers, we must continue to improve the support for our caregivers. I acknowledge the government's efforts to increase the supply of respite care with 3,100 home places and 4,600 daycare places for seniors since 2015, one of which is in Pasir Ris. However, given that 1 in 4 of Singaporeans will be above the age of 65 by 2030, will this be enough? What is our projected requirements, and how can we have a whole-of-nation commitment to address the manpower needs of the respite care industry? Yet another way we could extend help to reduce caregivers' financial strain is through the enhancement of the home caregiving grant. I support the doubling of the home caregiving grant from $200 to $400 for the lower-income households. This is a significant enhancement to the grant which has already benefited 31,000 individuals. However, we must explore how to better create awareness for the grant or any other grants for caregivers. One of our Pasir Ris residents, Madam Neo, who is in her 60s and currently unemployed, takes care of her bedridden husband. When I visited her a month ago, she happily shared that HDB has just installed the ramps and Grab bus for her under the EASE program. However, through our conversations, it became apparent that she has not heard about the home caregiving grant. How do we ensure caregivers are aware of the support that is available and not just ask for it when they truly are at their wits' end? Do we have effective outreach programs to help support our caregivers? Should we also segregate caregivers based on who they are caring for? For example, someone providing care for a person with disability vis-a-vis a caregiver providing care to a chronically ill elderly. Both these caregivers need and deserve our support. Should we have a one-stop portal that can serve all caregivers, or at least provide the relevant information for any one of our caregivers? How can we proactively engage our caregivers so that they do not feel that they're left to their own devices? Since our visit to Madam Neo, I'm happy that she's now applying for the home caregiving grant and is our monthly beneficiary at our Pasir Ris care store. Another way to ease the caregiving load is to continue providing affordable and quality preschool. Besides subsidies for anchor or partner childcare operators, can the ministry consider providing subsidies for private schools and private childcare options, such as those in religious organizations that are already available? I also urge the government to review the differentiated childcare subsidy of $300 per month for working and $100 per month for non-working mothers. We must recognize that some women choose to remain at home instead of work in order to provide adequate care for their young or to persons with disabilities or development needs. There are also some women who had to quit their jobs because of health issues. For example, one of our mothers in Pasir Ris had to quit her job while she recovers from depression. However, the family was worried that with the differentiated childcare subsidy, by her not working, they'll have to spend $300 more per month in addition to her losing her income. We can do more to ease such pressures on our already stressed young mothers. Mr. Speaker, in Malay, please. Sepanjang 60 tahun yang lalu, banyak kemajuan telah dicapai dalam pembangunan wanita di Singapura dalam banyak bidang seperti pendidikan, penjagaan kesihatan, pengubalan piagam wanita, perlindungan daripada keganasan, dan lebih banyak peluang pekerjaan yang sama rata. White Paper on Singapore Women's Development adalah langkah yang penting untuk memacu komitmen seluruh negara secara kolektif untuk memajukan pembangunan wanita Singapura. Dan saya percaya masih banyak lagi yang boleh kita lakukan untuk meningkatkan keberkesanannya. Pertama, secara kolektif, kita boleh mewujudkan tempat kerja yang lebih selamat, adil, lebih inklusif dan progresif melalui pengenalan keadilan di tempat kerja dan mempercepatkan undang-undang untuk pengaturan kerja yang fleksibel dan menyediakan bantuan kepada penjaga dan wanita yang ingin kembali bekerja. Dalam satu kajian yang dijalankan oleh PPIS mengenai aspirasi seorang Muslimah, salah satu inspirasi utama wanita Islam adalah untuk mencapai kebebasan kewangan. Namun ramai responden dalam kajian itu berkongsi bahawa mereka berasa kurang berupaya untuk bekerja kerana mereka menganggap ketidaksamaan sosial dalam peluang pekerjaan masih ketara. Mereka juga berasa bahawa terdapat kurang pendedahan kepada peluang pekerjaan dan terdapat kurang peluang bagi mereka untuk meningkatkan kemahiran mereka untuk mendapatkan pekerjaan yang bergaji lebih tinggi. Apakah peranan yang boleh dimainkan oleh badan-badan seperti Mendaki dan NTUC untuk menyediakan wadah bagi ibu-ibu yang ingin kembali bekerja untuk mencari peluang-peluang menimba kemahiran baru dan bekerja semula? Presiden PPIS, Puan Hazlina Abdul Halim juga menyarankan agar program sebegini dihadiri oleh pasangan suami isteri bagi memberikan sokongan terdekat kepada wanita-wanita yang mahu kembali bekerja. Sesuatu yang saya sangat bersetuju. Kedua, sementara kami berusaha ke arah mengubah stereotip bahawa wanita adalah penjaga utama, oleh itu sering memikul beban penjagaan yang lebih berat dalam keluarga, kita mesti memberikan sokongan yang lebih baik dan lebih mudah kepada penjaga kita. Ketiga, supaya kita dapat meringankan beban penjagaan, bagaimanakah kita boleh terus menyediakan penjagaan kanak-kanak yang lebih berpatutan dan berkualiti? Akhir sekali, kita harus menggalakkan lebih ramai wanita untuk memikul peranan dan kepimpinan dan juga dalam bidang STEM. Kita harus memberi sokongan kepada wanita muda kita untuk mencari pekerjaan dalam industri-industri yang berkembang. In conclusion, Mr. Speaker, sir, ultimately, we all have a part to play to inculcate the values of fairness, equality, and respect. We all can address gender roles from young, at home, and in schools, and in this way, help to build a fairer and more inclusive society where all Singaporeans have full and equal opportunities to achieve their aspirations. Women represent our mothers and sisters, our wives and our daughters. Every one of us have a vested interest in ensuring a supportive and inclusive workplace free from harassment and discrimination. Women deserve to feel safe and protected as they remain important contributors to society. We must role model equal and mutually supportive gender relationship built on sincere care and concern for others. This will help determine how women in the next generation will be treated as we commit to build a fairer and more inclusive society. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.